This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, May 3rd, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hello, and thank you for joining us. Saskatchewan workers who earn the least will soon earn a little bit more. The government has announced it will raise the minimum wage by more than $3 over the next 2.5 years. The current minimum wage is $11.81 an hour, the lowest in the country. It will jump to $13 per hour in October. That said, it will still be the second lowest in the country at that time if Manitoba does not increase its rate. Then the hourly wage will go up another $1 next year and again the year after, hitting $15 per hour in 2024. The government says world events and rapid inflation have put pressure on low-income earners. Labor Relations Minister Don Morgan says the wage hike is being phased in over time to give businesses time to adjust. He predicts 45,000 workers will be impacted by the change.
And we were watching, and as other provinces were increasing, we realized that we were falling to the back, and now in recent times we've had a very serious round of inflation, and we felt it was time to make a market adjustment.
We've been calling for a $15 minimum wage for years now, and it's almost too late for $15. I was speaking with a young woman this morning that works two jobs. Both of them are minimum wage, and she's not hardly making ends meet. And you hear that story over and over again. You know, people working full time, stopping at the food bank on their way home. The cost of living these days is so out of reach that minimum wage is just not going to cut it.
The Saskatchewan Federation of Labour says workers in Regina and Saskatoon need to earn $16 an hour to cover living expenses. As mentioned, Saskatchewan has the lowest minimum wage in Canada at $11.81. Manitoba, not much higher at $11.95. And while Saskatchewan plans to hit the $15 mark in about 2.5 years, several provinces have already promised that or more, including BC, Alberta, Ontario, and all of the territories. Nova Scotia is bumping its minimum wage up to $15 by April of 2024. Business owners say they have mixed feelings about the minimum wage hike. Many have struggled to stay afloat during the pandemic. Supply chain issues, high gas prices, and inflation have made materials more expensive for businesses. But one Saskatoon gym owner says he also knows many workers have suffered too. He agrees they should earn a living wage.
That's going to hurt us financially because after 2 years of COVID, we are still actually struggling financially. It is actually not a really welcome change financially or business-wise, but personally, I believe that it's going to be good for all of us.
Dabai says he is confident business will pick up this summer, and that he says will help him cover expenses and pay his workers more. A leaked document indicates the U.S. Supreme Court may be ready to strike down the legal right to abortion. The case has captured attention here in Canada, prompting discussions about reproductive rights and a woman's right to choose. Rafi Boudjikanian has more on what the situation south of the border had people in our country saying today.
That's a great day for justice.
That was 32 years ago, one of Dr. Henry Morgenthaler's many victories in court upholding a woman's right to choose. There are parts of the country where anti-abortion sentiments never went away. And now that a leaked document suggests the landmark Roe v. Wade decision protecting abortion in the U.S. could be overturned,
undeniably, we're going to start having conversations about abortion care in Canada. There's research that shows that, actually having this debate leads to increased support in abortion rights and in abortion care.
We have an abortion fund.
No reassurance for some pro-choice activists.
I think we can't overrule unthinkable things happening. It is more likely in Canada that we're looking at barriers to abortion increasing, or at least pressure to increase them, and the effort to elect more parliamentarians, either at the federal level, the provincial level, that will continue to seek to kind of restrict and diminish access to abortion.
Conservatives actually asked their members not to speak out on the subject today, saying it would be inappropriate to comment on matters before the U.S. courts, something the federal government seized on.
What we need to make sure is that there's no backsliding of women's right to choose here in Canada. And we know right now, as we speak, there's no MPs from the Conservative Party that are willing to answer any of the questions of the journalists today.
Meanwhile, some Conservative MPs didn't appear to get that memo from their leader.
We are Canada, and that some of these things do cross the border, but we also have to make sure we have legislation and things that are good for Canadians.
Human beings begin at conception, so I hope to continue being able to stand up for the preborn.
Interim Conservative leader Candice Bergen is promising not to introduce new legislation or reopen the debate. But this afternoon, some of her MPs voted down a symbolic motion calling on the House of Commons to recognize a woman's right to choose. Meanwhile, the federal government says it's still committed to a promise from the last election to increase access to services, though it had nothing new to announce today. Rafi Bujikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Here in Saskatchewan, the accessibility of abortions has been raised by some as an issue. Surgical abortions are only available in Saskatoon and Regina. That could present challenges for women living in the north or in rural areas where they're not available. Heather Hale is the executive director of Saskatoon Sexual Health.
Certainly, we do know of individuals who are traveling up to 9 hours to Regina to access services. And this was further impacted with the dissolution of the Saskatchewan Transport Company. So individuals living outside of Saskatoon and Regina having to travel, so having to have access to a vehicle. And then also, and because that travel isn't covered by insurance, are having to also often arrange for hotel and food.
Hale says there are also timeline barriers. Surgical abortions are done in Saskatoon up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. In Regina, it's up to 18 weeks and 6 days. The province has withdrawn a lot of tickets that were issued to people or businesses accused of breaking COVID-19 rules. In fact, it's withdrawn nearly as many tickets as it has secured convictions. CBC News reviewed the data and found that over the course of the pandemic, 712 tickets were issued for violating orders under the Public Health Act. That included failing to mask indoors or exceeding gathering limits. As of March 31st, the Justice Department says 191 tickets have resulted in a conviction. 183 tickets have been withdrawn for various reasons. The rest are still pending. As for those 191 convictions, the province has collected about $48,000 in fines it's owed. Nearly $400,000 remains unpaid. Single game day tickets for Saskatchewan Rough Rider games went on sale today, and with them some new information about what you will and will not need through the season. The Riders have dropped their COVID-19 vaccination requirement for the upcoming CFL season. That means fans will no longer need proof of vaccination or a negative test to get into Mosaic Stadium. The proof of vaccination policy was brought in last September following the lead of other CFL teams. The first game in the stadium this year, May 23rd, a preseason match against the Blue Bombers. But before we can get to the preseason, CFL training camps kick off this weekend, including in Saskatoon this Sunday. And the week already off to a busy start with today's CFL Global Draft. The Saskatchewan Roughriders had the 5th overall pick, taking linebacker Jordan Genmark Heath from UCLA. The 6'1", 225-pound native of Sweden started all 12 games for the Bruins, finishing second on the team in tackles while collecting 3.5 sacks. Genmark Heath began his collegiate career with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish before transferring to UCLA. With their other 2 picks, the Riders took Swiss product Lucas Ross and from France, Monsieur Beard Aigret. We're learning more about the latest losses at Saskatchewan Crown corporations. A SaskTel employee was caught making personal purchases with their corporate credit card. The employee failed to repay the outstanding amount, totaling more than $18,000. They refused to meet with SaskTel security officials on March 1st, and the person was fired the next day. The company withheld their final paycheck. The incident has since been reported to police, and the phone company says it will review and proceed with any necessary legal action. The city of Regina today unveiling its construction plans for a very busy 2022 season. The city says it will spend $118 million on roads, water, wastewater, and drainage projects this year. Most projects are set to begin this month, but some multi-year projects are already underway. That includes the Winnipeg Street Overpass project and the North Central Drainage project, both of which will be done this year. Some intersections will be getting lights and new bike lanes, and there are more big projects too. So you can expect some traffic slowdowns on McCarthy Boulevard, Albert Street North, Louvain Drive, and Arcola Avenue. Also today, the City of Regina unveiled a special initiative with the Canadian Mental Health Association to mark Mental Health Week, running now till May 8th. Together, they've placed 5 reflection benches in parks around Regina. The goal is to remind people they're not alone. Each bench will have a sign that says so and include a QR code that links to various free mental health resources. Next year, the city will add 5 more benches.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. The exclusive export event is back.
And Ethan Williams joins me now with a look at your forecast, and it looks like we are in for a real treat the next couple of days.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. We certainly are. Feel like we jump right from spring into summer in the south and central regions, but in the north, boy, winter just won't end. Heavy, wet snow has fallen over the last day or so now. Here's what Sharon saw up at Pelican Narrows this morning. She estimated about 15 centimeters of snow, and it was still falling when she took this. Jackie taking these shots at Pelican Narrows too. She's a teacher in the community, and she says schools had to close. There was too much snow. And finally, Myrna taking these shots in Sandy Bay. You can see how deep the snow is there compared with her leg. But the snow is sticky enough. Yes, you can even make a few snowmen if you like. And we do still have a snowfall warning, one lone warning for the Pelican Narrows and Cumberland House area tonight. This is for an additional 2 to 4 centimeters of snow. They've already seen about 15 centimeters there, as we mentioned, but that could continue through the overnight hours tonight. Here's a look at how things are going to shape up. Maybe some mixing and freezing rain in that Churchill region tonight, but that pulls away, and we are watching another system that's going to be moving in through the north of the province again. This one happening tomorrow, and this one is mostly going to fall in the form of rain, and really right now it doesn't look like too much in the way of precipitation. Maybe a few millimeters of rain, possibly some mixing conditions though, and we could see a little bit of snow in the far north, but things start to clear out as we head through Thursday, and then we will watch another system which could bring some rain to much of the province as we head through Friday and Saturday. But we're going to be sitting under this nice ridge of high pressure, and that's going to be bringing us some nice temperatures in the south and central part of the province for the next few days. The north will get a gradual warm up, but it will take a little while to get there. And then we are watching this trough off the coast of BC, which is going to be moving in and bringing some cooler and that unsettled weather through the end of the week. Wind gusts not too bad as we head through the day tomorrow. We could see them generally between 30 and 40 kilometers an hour, and then they will come back on Wednesday between 40 and 50 kilometers in south and central. A calmer day for the north on Thursday. Let's take a look at tonight's forecast, shall we? Regina and much of south and central sitting between freezing and 5 degrees tonight. I think we'll see clearing conditions as we head into the overnight hours for Regina and the southeast. Cloud cover building in for central regions tonight. Temperatures are kind of in the same range. We're looking at a low of 2 tonight in Saskatoon, 3 in Lloydminster. And then, as I mentioned, in the far north, possibly some freezing rain or flurries in the Churchill region with lows around -2, -3. A little chillier in the far north with Fond du Lac and Stony Rapids looking at -2 and -4 respectively. We get to tomorrow, and I think these temperatures will probably be just a touch cooler than what's on here right now. We're looking at highs maybe closer to around 5 degrees. In the central region tomorrow, a nice day for most. We're looking at highs between 20 and 25 degrees. A little cooler in the Prince Albert and Hudson Bay areas. We're looking at highs around 15 there, but a nice day in the south. I think those clouds will clear out and we'll see a sunny day with a high of 22 in Regina. We're looking for 23 in Swift Current. Here's the extended forecast. As I mentioned, a pretty nice day in Regina tomorrow. Feeling very nice as we head into Thursday, getting close to the 30-degree mark there. And then temperatures cool down. We could see a system move in Saturday, bringing some heavier rain. And then temperatures will really cool off heading into next week. Tomorrow in Saskatoon, mostly cloudy conditions, high of 24, 27 on Thursday. I think that'll be our nicest day. And then we even could see some mixed precipitation, Sam, as we head into the beginning of next week.
We're going to keep an eye on Sunday for Mother's Day and hope that that forecast changes.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we leave you, the late Montreal Canadiens icon Guy Lafleur is being remembered today for his kindness, humility, and his unique style, both on and off the ice. As Lafleur's casket arrived at the cathedral in Montreal, draped in his team's flag, fans yelled the same chant he must have heard throughout his remarkable career. The Prime Minister and Quebec's Premier were among those who attended the national funeral ceremony. Those who personally knew the Hockey Hall of Famer and 5-time Stanley Cup champion also grieved his passing. Lafleur died last month at the age of 70 after a battle with lung cancer. And here in Saskatchewan, he's being remembered by longtime fans.
He had a profound impact on my life just because of the true gentleman that he was and the authenticity that he had with children. On one occasion, I was with him, and he was signing cards and he said, "Jim, do we have a minute?" And I said, as many minutes as you want. And he stood there and signed autographs until every last person there was accommodated. And that was Guy. That was Mr. Lafleur.
Jim Tamman is president of the Western Canada Montreal Canadiens fan club. This locker room at Harold Latrice Arena in Saskatoon is always home to Habs memorabilia, but today there was a special tribute to Lafleur. Fans could watch his funeral and share memories.
Just an opportunity for fans to be part of Guy's funeral, Mr. Lafleur's funeral, and share a moment. Individuals that have come in, we've shared stories, and they tell me their stories, and I get to tell my stories again and again. There's nothing better than that as a true Hab fan, but as a true Guy fan, Mr. Lafleur fan, it's incredibly special. This will be a wonderful, wonderful way to say goodbye.
Fans also wrote tributes in a book that will be shared with Lafleur's family. And that is it for us today. For news anytime, you can always head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.